Hey, it's Kyle Shannon with the AI Learning Lab. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the live event, the nightly live event, where I get on the TikTok and wax poetic about all things AI. My name is Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. I have a bunch of URLs behind my head. I'll talk about those in a second. I'm an entrepreneur. I've started 12 or 15 companies. I am deeply invested in generative AI to the point at which, my fat 58-year-old ass started a TikTok channel about it. I've got some experience not in generative AI and science and math, but in being an entrepreneur at kind of early stages of technology. So I was an entrepreneur in the early days of the World Wide Web. Back in the mid-'90s, started one of the first digital agencies, and the parallels I see to what's going on with generative AI and what was happening back then are huge. So this channel's all about that. It's about demystifying AI and talking about it and, trying it, getting curious about it, encouraging people to get curious about it, because there is a lot going on and it's going to be very, very disruptive. And it is a hell of a lot less scary when you're in it than looking at it from the outside. So that's what this channel is all about. If you're brand new to generative AI, that URL right there is the official ChatGPT website. I am not affiliated with it in any way. It's really more there as a public service announcement because A, they invented the shit, at least the ChatGPT stuff. And it's really good. And if you haven't played with it, it may look like a fancy Google search from the outside, but it's anything but a fancy Google search. It is a completely new thing, and it's quite remarkable. The next URL down here is Bing. That's Microsoft's search engine, bing.com. You probably heard of that. But if you click on their chat button, that's ChatGPT 4, and it's connected to the internet. So if you want to try GPT-4 for free, you can go to bing.com. And then if you have any thoughts, questions about generative AI, pop them down below. I'll do my best to answer them. Let me see, we got some folks in here. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Let's see. When can we use AI as a personal assistant that remembers info? It's coming. In fact, OpenAI has announced that it's coming. So at some point within ChatGPT, you'll effectively be able to have profiles. I don't know if it's coming to ChatGPT. I know they've announced it for their API. So developers will be able to create a profile for their users of the tool, where I can put in my background, maybe my LinkedIn profile, things like that, and you won't have to keep putting that in every time. So that's coming. I think Apple, when they announce their AI stuff, autonomous agents that represent you and know who you are and act on your behalf and probably speak on your behalf, those are coming. So I think it's going to be coming sooner than later, but probably like timing until we have something that's as simple as ChatGPT that has memory. Probably 6 months, maybe sooner, but probably 6 months. When can we use AI? Okay, let's see. Hey, Kyle, thanks for hosting these. How do you see AI changing the landscape for content creation? Fundamentally. I mean, and let me just put it this way. We're transitioning from a world. So it used to be that producing content was really, really difficult, right? In the 1800s and the early 20th century, you had to, you literally had to grind, things into a record, and it was really hard to make content. And then, high-speed printing presses come, and we can make lots of newspapers. And then, we move into the digital age, and it gets easier to produce content. With generative AI, we're moving into a world of essentially infinite content generation. So in a world of infinite content generation, a bunch of things happen. One is there's going to be a shitload more content. And because these tools are powerful, it's all going to look really sexy at first, right? But then what's going to happen is it's just going to become like this boiling sea of more content than we've ever seen before. And it's going to be really hard to discern the good from the bad, the real from the fake, the sales bullshit from the authentic content. It's all going to get very, very muddy. And then I think what will happen is true artists will again emerge out of the soup of content sameness, and we'll start to see true innovation. We'll start to see real, either super authentic content will resonate or super original content will resonate. Now, what it's going to be is it's going to be this constant battle where someone will rise above the noise like they do now, right? Someone sort of emerges out of the content soup and becomes a star. But historically, it would take a year for people to sort of catch up to them. I think with this generative AI stuff, someone's going to emerge and they're going to be a star for a week or two, and then everyone will copy them, and then someone else will emerge. So I think the cycles of sort of who rises out of the soup and how quickly the rest of society catches up. So that's it at a macro level, I think. In terms of what happens to all of the professions that make it up, musician, copywriter, illustrator, designer, animator, just all of that stuff, I think it changes dramatically, and I think it changes quickly, and I think that the people who have those skills that jump on the AI bandwagon and are AI literate are going to fare better than the people that resist it. And that's really why this channel exists. So, will humans ever be able to upload consciousness digitally to better interact with AI? Probably not for some time. Ray Kurzweil says the singularity will be 2029, and I think some other leading AI people say 2030. They've kind of downgraded their future thing. So that's probably that era where the machines are, start to behave in sentient kind of ways. But if you're talking about uploading true digital consciousness, that's probably not for 20 years. So that's a bit farther out. Right now, we've essentially got, what generative AI is right now is like super smart calculators, like super fucking smart calculators. It generates all this amazing shit, but it has no awareness of what it actually did. It looks like it's got awareness, but it doesn't. So probably within 5 years, we'll have things that start to have awareness of what they've produced, and then 15 or 20 years, it'll start to get scarily good and scarily conscious and things like that. Avatars everywhere, more value to live streaming. I think so. I think avatars are going to be everywhere. And it's gonna get weird if you look at what Apple did with their Vision Pro goggles when they were showing the Zoom calls, where you've digitized your face with the goggles, and even though you're wearing these goggles, you have a synthesized version of yourself that is participating in the Zoom call, and it has cameras looking at your mouth, so it's your real mouth moving, and it's your real eyes doing this, and like all the emotion stuff is synthesized. So I think Apple's going to normalize this idea of kind of a synthesized version of me, representing me. And so I think we're going to see that stuff everywhere. And then this is just instinct. My instinct is that real, authentic people are going to be like refreshing and like, yeah, I want more real, authentic, right? So live music probably makes a dramatic comeback, and I don't know, maybe performance art, makes a comeback, something like that. So it looks like we lost a bunch of people. So if you could just tap the screen, share this live so we can get the word out to people out there. We had a bunch of people in here for a second, but they all left. I think they came in and they saw me and they're like, no, I'm out. I'm leaving. This is not for me. Not on a Wednesday night. No, we don't do this. Not if we've got a sudden power grid blackout. Yeah. If we do an electromagnetic pulse weapon on the country, then I think AI stops in its tracks for sure. All right. Would Gen AI nullify human imagination, fantasy, creativity, etc.? So here's been my experience. Even though these tools are creatively like off the charts competent, for lack of a better term, I'm finding myself being more creative and more creatively inspired than I've probably ever been in my life. So I find the exact opposite to be true. That what the tools actually do is they remove creative roadblocks. Where historically I would have had an idea and then I get stuck in trying to find a piece of software to do that, or oh, I've got to write the outline for that story and I don't really feel like writing an outline. Just all the sort of annoying blocking and tackling bullshit of creative ideation. These tools do that stuff brilliantly. So like you can get to 80% like that. And then the refinement, you just kind of live at a higher creative plane. So I find I find it inspiring me to have more ideas, be able to more quickly execute those ideas, be able to deliver them just at a different rate than I've ever been able to before. So easier to copy, harder to create moats as content creators. Yes. The moat thing is really interesting. The idea of moat, having a competitive advantage as a content creator. Yeah, for example, so a month or so ago, that song came out that was a synthesized version of The Weeknd and Drake. And it wasn't a super great song, but it sounded enough like them. And, someone put it on Spotify and it immediately got like 600,000 streams. And then over the course of a week, it got like 20 million. So here's a piece of effectively fan-generated art that is behaving, at a performance level, way above fan-generated art normally does. And Spotify pulled it down. And then a week later, Grimes, Elon Musk's ex, she put out a statement and she said, synthesize me all you want, make as many knockoffs of my music as you want, just give me half. Which I thought was a really brilliant move, right? So what she kind of recognized is there's no way she's ever going to be able to compete with the fan-generated art. Like if regular people have tools that allow you to make an original new Billie Eilish song, in a couple of hours on a Saturday and put it out to the world, Billie Eilish isn't going to be able to battle all of that. Grimes isn't going to be able to battle all that. So what she's kind of doing is, okay, I accept that there's going to be a new reality, and I'm just tossing my hat in the ring to say, just pay me half. And she'll probably get a lot of people making music on her behalf that's synthesized, that some percentage of them will pay her half, and some percentage of them will create hit songs that are out there. So that's just it in music. So I like, where's it actually going to go? I have no fucking idea. But I think we're all going to have to rethink where's the value in what we do in content creation, in work product. If I can write a business email that's super professional in 2 minutes instead of 30 minutes, is that a bad thing? I don't know. I don't think so. But it's definitely a different thing, right? So it's crazy. All right. Will they create an audio response GPT? Yeah. And in fact, you can do, I just downloaded, there's an automation for iOS where you basically go, if I say it, it'll bring it up, but you basically say Siri and then some phrase for ChatGPT and you can start talking to it. That's going to come pretty quick, and you can hack that together right now. So you can just go look for a YouTube video on that. Can you quickly give your background? Sure. I'm a storyteller by training. I have a fine arts degree in acting. I moved to New York City out of school, started and ran a theater company for 4.5 years. Then I went into to a manic 2-year period where I wrote 7 feature-length screenplays. And then right around the end of that phase, the World Wide Web showed up. So in '94, I started messing around with this thing called the World Wide Web and had an idea for an online magazine and launched that in 1994 with my wife. And then right around that same time, I co-founded agency.com, which was one of the first digital agencies. So had a real epiphany around the World Wide Web, like, holy shit, this is going to change everything. In fact, everything's different, but no one knows it yet, right? And so I spent, 5 years sort of just growing agency.com, and then I spent another couple of years there after the dot-com bubble, sort of managing through that. Ended up selling that to Omnicom in 2002. And then my current company, Storyvine, was founded in 2012. It's called Storyvine. I'm the founder and CEO and the inventor of it. It's an automated video storytelling platform. So I've kind of had storytelling kind of running through my career, just different ways. But I've always been really enamored with technology and how you apply technology to real life, right? To business, to people, and so this generative AI stuff. When I kind of had my epiphany about it was very reminiscent of the epiphany I had about the World Wide Web. And I'm like, this shit is changing everything, but no one knows it yet. Although that's not true. The adoption of generative AI, of ChatGPT, is insane. So the World Wide Web, to get to 100 million users, it took 6 years, from 0 to 100 million users. ChatGPT, 6 weeks. From 0 to 100 million users. ChatGPT took 6 weeks. So a lot of people know about it. A lot of people are using it. There's an interesting piece put out by Ethan Mollick a couple of days ago that talked about this idea of secret cyborgs. And what his piece basically talks about is these generative AI tools are incredible personal productivity tools. So within big companies or within companies, a lot of individuals are using generative AI, but they're not really talking about it. They're not telling their bosses about it. So you have all these secret cyborgs within organizations that are getting AI literate and getting super efficient. And then you have the organizations themselves that don't have the data policies for AI. They haven't picked the platform yet. They haven't made an investment in it. They might not understand it. But the employees aren't talking about the fact that they're using it. So there's this big disconnect. And what Malik talks about is the way out of it is that the bosses basically need to make a safe zone to say, hey, if you're doing generative AI, that's a good thing. You're not going to get fired. I understand that you might be doing in 4 hours what used to take you 40 hours. I want to learn about that, like bring that forward, right? And I don't think a lot of organizations are doing that. So we're in a really fascinating time right now where the power dynamic might be shifting. So I hope that gives you a sense of my background. If you've got any questions about AI, pop them in the comments below. I was talking about these before. Chat.openai.com, that's the official ChatGPT website. Bing is Microsoft's version of ChatGPT. If you go to the chat button at bing.com, and then Poe.com is the reason I put this one up here. There's 6 different large language models that you can play with at Poe.com. So one of them is theirs. 2 of them are OpenAI's, and 3 of them are from a company called Anthropic, which is really, really interesting. So that's what Poe.com is. All 3 of them are basically just, if you haven't played with ChatGPT, within 3 of those, there's something free for you to go play with that's really interesting. Prompts.chat is a document that will teach you about prompting and interesting things you can do. And then Futurepedia.io is a directory of AI apps. There's like 4,000 of them in there, like 3,700, some crazy amount of just apps, music apps, and animation apps, and film apps, and writing apps, and copy apps, and whatever. Just there's a ton of shit there. So I can't keep up with it anymore. So I put that there if you've got specific things. The other thing that I'll share with you is I started a community called the AI Salon. So if you go to thesalon.ai, there's a link tree there. We do bi-weekly meetups where we meet in person here in Denver, and then we meet online as well. We've got a YouTube channel where you can watch past meetings. We've got a Discord server where you can geek out and ask questions and do stuff. So that's what that is. And then if you go to Twitter and go to Everyday AI News, that's a newsletter that I put together with a guy named Greg Mushin. And we just cover a lot of news shit there. So that's all there for you as well. All right. What's your biggest fear about this technology? That's an interesting one. I think my biggest fear right now is how fast it's moving and how disruptive it's going to be. And how unprepared a lot of us are for the changes that are coming. Although I think that's temporary, right? I think it's a 2 to 3 year window where these technologies dramatically change every knowledge worker's job, every creative worker's job, and probably a lot more beyond that. But like knowledge workers and creative workers historically have been fairly immune to the automation game, right? Like, because, it can't do creative work and it can't do data analysis and the things that humans do. Well, now it can. And, it's almost like the more specialized your knowledge work or your creative work is, the more you're at threat. So, But I don't know that people kind of grasp how significant that threat is and how profound that change is going to be. So for me, it's that it's just the speed with which entire professions are going to be completely redefined, and if people are sitting from the outside looking in, it's just going to seem harsh and unexpected. And that's why I'm doing this channel, is start getting curious about this. And if whatever your skill is or whatever your passion is, start learning how to do that with AI tools. And you'll be much more prepared when the changes happen. So that's it. I mean, there's like a lot of the fear-mongery kind of things, like it's going to destroy humanity and things like that. Yeah, there's probably going to be some headline making awful things where some bad actor used AI to take down a power grid here or there. I don't know. I feel like shit like that's going to happen. But that doesn't scare me as much as, like, even if the changes that AI precipitates are super positive, they're still going to be massively disruptive, right? Because how I see it is this: we've got so let's say here's our economy, right? It's flying along like this. And our economy takes this much effort from human beings to maintain this level of economy. With generative AI tools, there will be less effort required to maintain the same level of productivity or even increase the level of productivity. So right now, it's relatively even, right? We have economy here, input here. As you drop this and maintain this or even increase it, there's this gap here. And that gap is people's time. So what are people going to do with the extra 5 hours or 10 hours or 20 hours a week that they used to do this menial kind of data entry job, and now that's just automated, right? And what do they do with that extra time? Some companies will just lay off those people, right? Oh, let's get more profitable. We'll lay off our costs, and right. Others will find ways to, keep these people busy and keep increasing productivity, right? That's good for the economy. That's good for their business. And then other people will get displaced out of here, right? They'll get ejected out of the workforce. And then they'll say things like, well, I fucking hated that job anyway. You know what I really want to do? And now they've got access to all these AI tools as well. And so, I don't know. It's a great question. I wish I had a better answer for you. It's kind of a shitty answer, but... All right, Windows 11 upgrade, Dell or HP 2-in-1 touchscreen laptop. I am a Mac guy. I have no fucking idea on Windows machines. And I have been an Apple fanboy since 1977, 76, 77, with the Apple II, the original Apple II, and then the Mac. So I have always been a Microsoft hater, except for the past 6 months where they are kicking ass and being a huge pain in the ass to Google, which is entertaining to watch. But I don't know. I don't have a clue on which one to buy. As a Mac guy, my answer to which one should I buy is the most powerful one you can afford is always the answer. So I assume it's the same on the PC side. Congressman Jeff Jackson made a TikTok stating something about how significant this will be. Yeah, and there was a CNN article yesterday talking about the fact that the Biden administration is making AI policy a high priority, that this is urgent. So I think they're taking it seriously. They're bringing on actual smart people into the government to do that. So, I mean, fingers crossed, the government doesn't really understand what fucking Wi-Fi is. So I don't quite know how they're going to get their heads around this stuff. But I think they recognize that they have to. The EU's taking it seriously. We'd better be taking it seriously. If you want to read a really good piece, there's a great piece. It's not a piece. The city of Boston put out a set of guidelines for generative AI. Let me go show you this. I think other cities should follow suit. Like the fact that San Francisco and New York haven't done this is beyond me. And it wouldn't take that long to do because, quite frankly, you could just take what the city of Boston did and pop it into ChatGPT and say, write one of these for New York City. Let's see, Boston guidelines. Wait for generative AI. So go Bing or Google search guidelines for using generative AI. So this is from the city of Boston, right? City of Boston interim guidelines for using generative AI. Here's the purpose. Here's sample use cases. There are some use cases where it can be beneficial. Write a memo to the chief innovation officer about the potential benefits for the use of generative AI in city government. Here's principles. They're including principles. It should be used for empowerment, inclusion and respect, transparency and accountability, innovation and risk management, privacy and security, public purpose, right? This is good stuff. Fact check and review all content, right? These generative AI tools, ChatGPT hallucinates is what they call it. It lies. I like to call it mansplaining as a service. It just lies. And so they're talking about that. They're acknowledging that. So if you do your work, check it. Check its accuracy. Don't share sensitive or private information in the prompts, right? Because OpenAI is learning on this stuff and that's not secure, right? More examples, do's and don'ts, right? So it's an 8-page document. It's a super easy read. This kind of stuff to me says that, these tools are going to be increasingly part of our daily existence, right? Microsoft is rolling this stuff into Office 365. They're rolling it into Windows 11. They're rolling it into, Google's going to do the same with Bard across all of their Office suite. It's already in Notion. It's already, if you go to GitHub, there's this thing called Copilot that will help you program your code. This stuff's going to be everywhere. Dropbox just did an announcement today that you're able to interrogate documents within Dropbox. So you have a 100-page document in there. You can just click on it and push the summary button. It'll summarize that 100-page document. Tell it to give you the top 10 key takeaways from the document. Boom, there they'll be. This stuff's going to be everywhere. It's going to be quite ubiquitous. So, all right. Let's see. Jeff Jackson, and that he's on the tech committee, and they know deepfakes will be an issue. 2024, the 2024 U.S. presidential election is going to make 2016 and 2020 seem like child's play when it comes to misinformation and deepfakes. It's going to be fucking insanity. That's my prediction. Like, I don't know. I'm not working for any political operatives, but I guarantee you the political operatives, they got this shit figured out right now. You know they're generating, photos and videos of, all of their competitors doing compromising shit with zoo animals. You know that's coming. I do. I stand before you today, and I tell you, I was never with that gorilla at the Cincinnati Zoo. I promise you that wasn't me. That's coming. It's going to be wild. Okay. All right. I'm still all right, though. We're all still all right. But here's the thing. What I'm encouraging in this channel, start getting curious about AI. Don't sit on the sidelines. Don't think that you have 3 years. Like, I'll get to it. I got retirement coming up. Yeah, maybe I'll just dick around for a little. Yeah. Nah, I would get in it as soon as you can. All right. If you've got questions about generative AI, pop them in the comments below. I will do my best to answer them. I can show stuff, things like that. All right. Let's see what else to talk about. Anything interesting going on? Let me go look at. We did a couple of interesting threads. The secret cyborg thing where that Ethan Mollick talked about, that one's really interesting to me, where he's basically talking about workers within companies becoming AI literate and the companies not becoming AI literate, and that gap that's forming, that's really interesting to me. If you want, I can show how ChatGPT works, the difference between free ChatGPT and paid ChatGPT. I can talk about plugins. There's a couple of cool ones. How do you get an AI-based business off the ground? A simple one. Could you do a test case? Yeah, let's go. That's so generic that whatever I do is probably going to be completely useless to you. But I can at least share with you how I would approach it. So I'll use, so here we are at ChatGPT. If you haven't been here before, down the left-hand side, this is my prompt history. So this is basically the history of what I've done. And then the interface here is it's like a simple text box, and that's basically it. And then I've got ChatGPT 3.5, which is super fast, and then GPT-4. If you pay for the GPT Plus subscription, you get access to GPT-4, and you can use the one that's connected to the internet, and you can use plugins. I'll just use 3.5. All right, so the exercise here is, how would I get an AI business off the ground? So here's the deal with business in general, is I wouldn't worry too much about it being an AI business. What I'd say is you want to get a business off the ground powered by AI. So let's see. I want you to act as a seasoned entrepreneur who can guide me to come up with a business that is easy and cheap to launch, leverages generative AI in a way that other businesses might miss, and I can start taking action on tonight. Let's just ask it. Do you understand? Absolutely, I understand. Of course, it understands. ChatGPT. You can make money with ChatGPT. Okay, let's see what it says here. One potential business idea that leverages generative AI is creating personalized digital artwork with the advancement of generative AI technologies. Okay, so I hate that, and I'm going to tell it I hate that. I'm going to say everyone is making AI art, and the market is already flooded. Please give me 10 business ideas that are different than that and have a high chance of being unique. I don't think unique is important, but if you want something non-obvious, tell it you want something non-obvious. So then it says, AI-powered personal stylist, develop a platform that utilizes generative AI algorithms to provide personalized fashion recommendations based on a user's preferences. That one's really interesting because that one you could actually knock out a prototype of that using Zapier in probably, I don't know, 2 hours, even if you don't know Zapier. AI-enhanced language learning. I don't personally have any interest in that, and I think that people aren't going to need to learn languages. The AI is just going to do the translations in real time. So I don't think that's not long-term viable or at all interesting for me. AI-driven virtual travel experiences. So this could be really interesting because short-term, you could create virtual travel experiences. In fact, I think some of the Google Map stuff where you can do tours now, and it does like these drone flyover tours. You could do virtual vacations and then actually book the trips, right? So like you could do some sort of new kind of travel agency where people get to experience the destination before they get there. AI-powered mental health companion. I think this is going to be a massive, massive business, but anything in healthcare, just because of HIPAA and privacy and insurance and things like that, is going to be complicated. But if you come up, you don't even have to call it mental health companion. This could be AI-powered, business mental health coach, right? You could figure out ways to spin that. So that's interesting. AI optimized meal planning. Again, I think that one, there's going to be just a ton of competition there, but I think that's, viable. Sustainable fashion marketplace. Establish an online marketplace that uses generative AI to curate and recommend sustainable fashion products. That's kind of interesting because I bet that these are probably really complicated supply chains. They're probably very dynamic. Like suppliers probably go in and out of business. So if you knew stuff about logistics, that could be interesting. AI-enabled personalized fitness coach. Again, there's going to be a ton of those, and Apple already essentially does that with the watch and things like that. Smart home automation. I don't know. Again, I just feel like that's like the barrier to entry to do that well. I don't know how you compete with what's out there. Personalized music composition, everyone's going to be doing that. I wouldn't touch that one with a 10-foot pole. And then personalized assistant for productivity. I think Apple's going to do this one. So I think the last 5 there are pretty shitty. But let's take the AI styled personal stylist. So I'm going to say, okay, I like number 1. Please help me narrow the focus by asking me a series of clarifying questions to determine my market. Don't ask the next question until I answer the current one. And that instead, if you don't put that, it'll just give you a list of 10 questions. So hopefully what this will do is ask me a single question. Certainly, let's narrow down the focus of your business. Who is your target audience for the AI-powered personal stylist service? Let's say Gen X single men who don't have any fashion sense. Great. Targeting Gen S single men who lack fashion sense with your AI-powered personal assistants could be a niche and potentially lucrative market. This thing does tend to blow sunshine up your ass, so it tends to give you some pretty good stuff. Okay, are you planning to offer this service exclusively online or through a combination of online and in-person interactions? That's interesting. Online to start, and I think it might be fun to create an avatar that represents the brand. See what it does with that. And so you'll notice what it's doing now. So it remembered the stuff up above. I asked it to ask me clarifying questions. It's incorporating what I said in the previous answer in each question. So that sounds like a great approach. Offering an AI personal stylist service primarily online allows for scalability and wider reach. Creating an avatar to represent your brand adds a unique and engaging element. Moving on to the next question. How will you gather information about your Gen X single male customers and provide personalized fashion recommendations? Will you use a questionnaire, a visual preference test, or a combination of both? I'm not sure. I don't even know where I will find my customers. Can you help me figure that out? Certainly. So let's see. Here are some questions to help you identify your acquisition channels. Where do Gen X men who lack fashion sense tend to spend their time online? Are there specific social media platforms, forums, right? Is there any existing fashion? So it's asking a bunch of good questions here. So now what I'm going to say is, well, those are great questions. Now you'll notice it sounds when I'm talking, those are great questions. It sounds when I'm talking to this thing like I'm talking to a person. That's one of the things I found with this GPT stuff is it's more like working with an assistant or an intern than it is like a Google search. Well, those are great questions. How about you answer them for me based on your experience and guide me down the right path. And notice I put a pretty bad typo in there. It doesn't care about typos. ChatGPT is brilliant with typos. Okay, so let's see. Based on my experience, here's some customer acquisition channels. Social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter are popular platforms where you can find and engage the target audience. Join relevant fashion and style-related groups. Share valuable fashion tips. Establish your brand. So it's not only telling me the kinds of groups to find, but like what to do with them, the kind of content to produce. Find fashion and style influencers, right? So bloggers and Gen X who cater to Gen X men, right? So there's already people who have found these people. So you can go find them, collaborate with them by sponsoring content or request product reviews. Fashion forums and communities, local events and networking, targeted online advertising, right? So, and then basically I would just go on and on and on. And that's how I would do it. So hopefully that helps. I know that was a bit of a rabbit hole, but what are you going to do? That's what we do here. We do rabbit holes. Rabbit holes are fun. Rabbit holes are tasty. Looks like we have some new folks here. My name's Kyle Shin, and this is the AI Learning Lab. These URLs behind my head are just, if you haven't played with ChatGPT, I'll tell you what, it's a requirement of the channel now. If you're going to watch me ramble on and babble about this shit, at least go play with ChatGPT, which is chat.openai.com. I'm not affiliated with it. I'm not making money if you click there. I don't give a shit if you click there, but you should go click there. I was just playing with ChatGPT. If you were watching me do that, come up with that business idea. Bing.com, if you click on the chat button, that's also ChatGPT. It's GPT-4. It's connected to the internet. And then Poe.com has some shit as well. So that's what that is. I'm feeling personally attacked. Lol, is that you? Single and no fashion sense. No, I'm married and have a wife that buys me really nice shirts. But I have no fashion sense, but my wife does. So that's handled. Chat GPS, I'm listening. It's interesting and real. Chat GPT. Cool. If you've got questions about generative AI, pop them down below. Some of the other things, this shirt is good for reading text in front of. Normally I've got these shirts that have all sorts of white in them for some reason, and the text is impossible to read. This is a pretty good one. So, like, it's even got a little grid. I can put the text right on it. It's pretty good. Let me talk a little bit about these URLs. So that one's ChatGPT. That one's Bing. Poe allows you to play with ChatGPT, but they've also got their own version of ChatGPT. You can also play with the Anthropic Claude models there. And one of the Claude models there has a 100,000 token context window. You have to pay for it, but 100,000 tokens means 75,000 words. So if you go to Poe.com and pay for it, you could paste in a 75,000 word document into your chat window and start interacting with it. It's remarkable. I pasted in the other night, I pasted in the entire screenplay of 2001: A Space Odyssey. Started talking with it. Pretty amazing. Any word on multimodal LLMs? Nope. GPT-4 is multimodal, but it's not live yet, right? You can't upload an image. And there's also code interpreters coming from ChatGPT, which allows you to upload other documents to it. They're going to start adding in like profiles so you can have memory about who you are in it. None of that shit's live yet. I think, hang on. On the open source community side of the house, if you go to Reddit and just search for open source LLMs on Reddit, there's going to be a bunch of subreddits there that are talking about all the stuff going on with open source models. I know some of the open source projects have some multimodal stuff going on. And for those of you that don't know, multimodal just basically means you can upload pictures or audio or video or words or, all that sort of stuff, and it will be able to interpret them. So GPT-4, when they announced it, they said it was multimodal, and you could basically, like one example that they showed was they uploaded literally a napkin sketch of a website. It OCR'd the poorly written text on the napkin, and it took the interface and it wrote HTML code and made essentially a functional website out of a napkin sketch. So like that's the kind of shit that's coming. It's not there right now. But there's pieces of it. You can see little pieces of it all around. They're just not glued together. How can I dump all my writings into Dropbox for ChatGPT? I don't know that they've launched that yet. I know they made the announcement today, but basically Dropbox is just like Google Drive, where you can just transfer your stuff over, get a Dropbox account, start dumping Word docs or text files into it, PDFs into it, and then you'll be able to go search on those. But I would go to Dropbox, look at their announcement, and see when it's going to go live. Like, I don't think it's live right now. Like a lot of this stuff, everyone's jumping on the bandwagon to go, we've got AI too. And a lot of it ain't real yet. All right, I'm trying to use ChatGPT to build a simple iOS app as I listen to you. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, exactly. Do that. And you know, like, depending on your level of sort of technical understanding and experience, you can have it give you very remedial stuff. Like I was doing some things like it took me 9 different attempts to get Stable Diffusion up and running on a virtual machine on Google Colab. It just kept failing. Like, I didn't quite understand what I was doing. And then I started to get that I could ask ChatGPT like really fundamental questions. Like it would say, go install this library, using this, command line interface. And I'm like, I don't understand what that means. And it would fully explain it to me and give me step-by-step instructions how to do that one little step. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, tell me if you what you come up with. That's really awesome. I did a talk on ChatGPT on LinkedIn Live today. Fantastic. 258 people attended. Man, that's awesome. I learned so much from you. Oh, thank you very much. Well, and kudos, like that I think more important than learning this stuff is talking about it. So the fact that you're just out there going, here's what I've learned, like, that's why this channel exists. That's like, that feels like the magic to me. It feels like what's really necessary right now, because this is scary shit. Like, if you're a copywriter, like we had a salon this week. What's today? Wednesday. Last night. We had an AI salon last night, and this woman showed up, and she's a copywriter, and she's an older woman, and she's been a copywriter for like 30 years, and she was scared, and she's like, I don't really understand this stuff, and I went to ChatGPT, and I like tried to get it to do stuff, and I wasn't all that impressed, so I don't get it. And she was just in that place of like, do I have to be worried about this? And the answer is yes. But, what we told her, and what I think is the right thing, is just stay curious. Like, show up to events like that. As you learn stuff, start teaching it. I can't tell you, like, the amount of stuff I learn from doing these is staggering. But it's super important to demystify this shit, make it less scary. Because once you get into this, like I feel like this AI stuff, like every person that gets curious with it has this Kevin McAllister moment, from Home Alone. That moment, it's like at some point, you're kind of like, yeah, I sort of get what ChatGPT is, and at some point you do something where it does something that you know something about, and it does it as good as you did it or better, and it does it like that. And that's the moment where you go, I had no idea. I mean, that's an amazing moment to watch. When you see people, when the lights go on and they're like, it can do that? I had no idea. I had a 10-year-old tell me, this changes everything. And he's right. 10-year-old looked at this shit and said, this is completely different. I missed the Dropbox announcement. What's that all about? Let me go see if I can find it, and I'll show it here. Dropbox. Here it is. I will flip my camera around. We'll do movie time. Movie time. Let's watch some movies together. All right. Down. Is this it? Yes.
Hi, I'm Drew Houston, co-founder and CEO of Dropbox. And I'm excited to share some new AI-powered product experiences that we're launching today to help improve your working life. When I first founded Dropbox, it was all about making it easy for you to store, share, and access your files anytime from anywhere. And while the world has changed a lot since then, you don't see a lot of people carrying around a thumb drive anymore, we still see a lot of room for improvement in the way we use technology at work today. That's why our mission is to design a more enlightened way of working, and we're focused on making the Dropbox experience even better so you can do your best work. And we've believed for a long time that AI and machine learning have a huge role to play in transforming how we work. Over the years, we've incorporated machine learning across our products, from automatically reshaping your scanned documents to transcribing your videos or removing all those ums and likes.
So this is important because one of the things that it's easy to forget, we've had AI in our products for years and years and years, right? It's in all these little feature enhancements and things like that. So that's what he's talking about
from
there.
Your Dropbox capture recordings, all to help you save time and work more efficiently. But in just the last few months, recent advancements in AI and generative AI have been taking the world by storm.
He's talking about ChatGPT. You can make money with ChatGPT, even if you're the CEO of Dropbox.
And have opened up a whole new world of possibilities. We're now living in a world where computers can see and hear and read and write and make art and talk to us for the first time. We can all remember the first time we asked ChatGPT a question, it actually knew what we were talking about, and it gave us a super useful answer. And then the next thing you know, you look up, it's midnight, and ChatGPT is writing poems about your dog. We're just scratching the surface of all the ways that generative AI can make our lives easier at work. But if you think about it, there are a lot of questions that ChatGPT can't answer. For example, what if you wanted to ask, what's my passport number? Or when does my auto insurance expire? Or where's that presentation we did for last year's product launch? Chatbots and Google searches can't answer these questions for you because they don't know about you, your company, or your stuff. We need AI that's personalized to us. And that's where Dropbox comes in. I'm excited to tell you about all the new ways we're applying AI to Dropbox so you can get more out of your content. First is Dropbox AI. Dropbox AI is a new feature that lets you instantly summarize and ask questions about your Dropbox files, especially big files. How many times have you wanted to get a quick understanding of what a presentation is about, or had a simple question about a contract, but your only option was having to sift through 100 pages of content to find the answer? Well, now you don't have to. With Dropbox AI, now you can pull up a file, you can ask it anything, and Dropbox will read the document for you and give you an answer. And in a single click, you can easily get a summary of the entire 100-page doc, saving you all the time and extra effort that it would otherwise have taken to do that manually. We're starting with individual files, but this is just the first step. Over time, you'll be able to ask a question about your Dropbox folders and even your entire Dropbox.
And so that's important. So that idea of right now you can look at an individual document, you can look at this 100-page document. With ChatGPT plugins, you can do the same thing, but now they're rolling this into Dropbox. So now your file storage service, in this case Dropbox, but Google Drive will do the same, Microsoft Azure will do the same. You're going to start to be able to search on your individual things. So anyway, that's at blog.dropbox.com. Let's go look at this. We don't have to watch the whole movie here because it's a little boring, but he makes 2 or 3 other announcements in that video. So introducing Dropbox Dash, AI-powered universal search in Dropbox AI. So that's worth checking out. So that was the Dropbox announcement. And again, for me, it's not so much about, is Dropbox the ultimate thing? No, I don't think it is. Like I'm actually not a very big fan of Dropbox. I think it's a bit of a piece of shit software. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. But I just, for me, the category or the product category that we're talking about here, the ability to point these AI tools at your documents, at who you are, at what you've written, will make these things like a level of magnitude even more transformative, right? Because you'll literally be when he says you'll be able to do this across all of Dropbox, That might be, write me write me the first chapter of a new book that has these three plot elements in it based on all of my other fiction writing. And it will know what your other fiction writing was. It will know your writing style. And you give it a few little elements of a story, and it'll write you the first chapter of a book that will probably be 85 or 90% usable. Yikes. Cool. Terrifying. Right? I mean, the other thing about this AI stuff, like, I feel like, it is totally appropriate to be as excited as you've ever been and as terrified as you've ever been in like all the time. Like, that's how I've been for 6 months. It's exhausting, but that's what's going on. I'm a full stack dev and trying to find ways to leverage Gen AI to prevent my own obsolescence. Awesome, Milo. Yes, do that. If you're not pair programming with Copilot on GitHub, I would strongly encourage you to do that. And I mean, quite frankly, as a developer, like, using the APIs to figure, I think an interesting exercise as an engineer for me would be, because I don't have the attention span. I have ADD, so I can't do engineering. But I would do a project to figure out a way to put yourself out of work, right? In learning how to use AI to put yourself out of work, you'll learn enough how to make yourself invaluable, counterintuitively. I would do that. I would also, if I were a full stack developer right now, I'd go play with LangChain and AutoGPT, the autonomous agents, all those projects out there. GPT for all, the open source models. I would dive headlong into the open source community, and all those autonomous agent projects. I think are absolutely fascinating, and I think it can only serve you well. Being an AI literate engineer, and AI literate, you don't have to be super AI literate. Like, you can be this much AI literate. I think it's going to serve you well. I'm returning to school this fall, I assume. I thought I might have a career as a grant writer. Will this job exist in 2 years? Well, no. Well, no, that's not true. It will exist in 2 years. The tools to process grant applications will be incredibly powerful. So, grant writers will probably shift more into a role of like grant writing curators, where the tool will do the bulk of the reading of the grant requirements. It will then put it into an appropriate format. It's raining like crazy here. It'll put it into a grant format. It'll get the grant 90% written, and then it'll be up to the grant writers to basically just edit, curate the best things, edit, do all that sort of stuff. So, all right, we use Microsoft Office OneDrive at work. Can't wait for it to light up with Copilot. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. What's happening?
Do you think we should cover the car
Nah.
with blankets?
Are they saying it's going to hail?
They said today it was going to hail.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going out in this. Yeah, it's a good idea.
About $1,000.
Yeah, because we might get hail here, so if we get hail, the car's going to get dented. So, we'll see. All right. Find stuff in my files. Generating stuff from my files. Blowing my mind. I know, Barn Pickle. And quite frankly, a name like Barn Pickle is awesome. That's some solid name game in the TikTok naming. Honestly, I got to use freeware Linux, OpenOffice, LibreCAD, Apache, OpenOffice, LibreCAD, LibreOffice. Wait, are you the one that said you were a developer? Wait. No, I didn't see anything. Yeah, I mean, all that freeware stuff, like all the open source large language models, like if you're geeky enough to use all of that freeware Linux shit, you're geeky enough to go play in those open source tech projects, LLM projects. So I would go do that. A lot of mind blown emojis here. That's good. I don't know if it's good, but yeah, it's not surprising. It blows my mind every fucking day. I need it to do that for Notion, where my brain lives. So Notion, there is a Notion AI that exists. Hang on, Notion AI. Introducing Notion AI. Access limitless power of AI right inside Notion. Get started. Yeah, so just go to, like, it's in there. It's go to notion.so/product/AI. It's in there. Can you write those out so I can screenshot? Write what out? What was I doing? Tell me what I was doing. ADD. I can't remember what I was doing 5 minutes ago. Do you think it's worthwhile to get an MS in AI? It depends what you want to do. If you want to be on the... So here's the inflection point I think we're at. Prior to November 30th, 2022, the day ChatGPT came out, if you were going to go into AI, you were essentially going into, computer science, machine learning. You were going into the engineering side of that world. Post November 30th, there's a whole other option, which is not I'm building the AI tools, but I'm figuring out how to use the AI tools, right? That's where historically I've lived, is post, like, let all the geeks do the hard work. And now the tool comes out. Now let's figure out how we use those to run a business, to start a business, to make my life easier, to redefine how we communicate as humanity, right? Like all that shit. So I'm interested in that post moment. So if you want to participate in the more engineering side of it, then I would say it would make sense to get, a degree in AI. If you're more interested in how businesses use this and how you apply it, then it may not, right? Then it might just be start teaching yourself this, start building projects for other people, and those will quickly lead to you building projects that they pay for. So I think that's really a personal choice. Just the way my brain is, I can't participate on the science, research, and engineering side. I'm just not. It's not the way I'm wired. I'm more on the creative and management and strategy side. If you tell me what to write out, I will do it so you can screenshot it. Write out the Auto GPT. Oh, the other tools for devs. Oh, sure. Okay, hang on. Let's see. What's going to be the easiest way to do this? Oh, I know. I think I have... Ding, 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 ding. Da, 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 da. Didn't I? Yes. Okay. Hold, please. Hold, please. What did you do tonight? Oh, I watched some old man try to navigate TikTok. It was painful. Okay. So let me throw a text box in here. Let me change the text to... Wait, what the hell? Hold, please. Delete. Oh. Hang on. Bum, 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 bum. What just happened? Did it just quit? Keynote just quit. All right. It's driving me crazy. All right, I'll do it. I'll do it here. Okay, you can see this. So the question was, can you type some shit out? So the salon.ai, that's my AI salon. So the things that I recommend, if you're an engineer right now and you're wanting to be active, you're wanting to be actively AI literate so that you're not obsolete a year from now, I would be playing with LangChain. That's a project that is really interesting. It basically this is a project that allows you to fine-tune GPT on your own data. So you basically embed your own data, and then you put those vectors in a vector database, and then you can search on it. So that's LangChain. And then the derivatives of so what followed that was this project called AutoGPT. And then one came out last week called GPT Engineer, which is conceptually super cool. Hang on, let me get that out of the way. GPT Engineer. There's GPT for All, which allows you to install local large language models locally and have an interface for them. And just like I would go to Reddit and just search for open source LLM projects. Open source LLM projects. Just go on Reddit and search, because the problem with the open source LLM projects is that there's so many of them. It's essentially impossible to keep up. But so if I were and then the other thing is whatever I called it. You should be using GitHub Copilot, and you should be doing pair programming with GitHub Copilot. Or something equivalent like that. GPT Engineer is a software writing tool. So GitHub Copilot. So those are the things I'd start with. So hopefully that helps. Now I screwed up my Photoshop file, but I can fix it. We've got the technology. We have large language models can fix that shit for us. All right. Welcome, everybody. If you're new here, my name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. If you've not played with ChatGPT, that's the official URL for it right there. I'm not affiliated with it. It's just go there, start playing. Bing.com is Microsoft's search engine. If you click the chat button, that's also ChatGPT. It's GPT-4 that you can use for free. And then Poe.com lets you use 6 different large language models to play with. Prompts.chat will teach you about prompting. There's many resources for that, but that's a cool one. And then Futurepedia is just a giant fat-ass directory of AI tools. All right. I fed information to ChatGPT piece by piece. It answered for a few minutes and then forgot everything. Okay, Phoenix, so here's the deal. You have run into one of the limitations of ChatGPT. There are many, but one of them is it's got what's called a context window, and it's got a context window right now of about 4,000 tokens, and that might be increasing to 8,000 and 16,000 and then 32,000, but just assume for now it's 4,000 tokens, which is about 3,000 words. Think of the context window as this sliding 3,000 word window. So if you type in 2,500 words, you say, here's a short story I wrote, and I want you to help me flesh out the characters. And all of that takes 2,500 words. And it responds with 500 more words. The next thing that it responds, it's going to start dropping stuff off the top. So you've got this sliding window where within a given session, it will have memory of the conversation in that 3,000 word window. One strategy you can do is you can take the stuff at the early part of the document, consolidate it, tell it to make it smaller, and then you can keep copying and pasting it sort of, throughout the conversation down lower. And so it won't lose as much of that stuff up top. So that's a strategy, but that's kind of crappy and wonky. The other thing you can do, and this is why I have that Poe.com up here on this screen, is let me show you that. So we will go over here, and we're going to go to po.com. Where do I have it? Oh, there it is down there. All right, so I'm at po.com. Boy, my screen's dirty. Look at it from all my pointing. I'm a pointer. I'm a pointer. All right. So you come to po.com. It's just a normal GPT search engine. You type shit down there, and it does its thing. Down the left-hand side here, you've got a bunch of different models you can play with. Sage is their own GPT engine. Then you have 3 subscription-only models, GPT-4, Claude Plus, which is Anthropic's version of GPT-4, and then this one, Claude Instant 100K. That means that's a 100,000 token context window, so 75,000 words. So current GPT is a 3,000 word context window. If you pay for Po, which is I think it's $20 a month, you get access to that. You can have much longer conversations if you've got a 75,000 word context window. So hopefully that helps. But that's what you're experiencing, and that's why that's happening. That's also a reason I was telling, whoever the other person was, Milo, about LangChain. One of the things LangChain can do is it can have memory. So you could create an application with LangChain that really does have the memory. So you're not experiencing that. But just within ChatGPT, you're going to have that issue because of the limited context window. Now you can tell people at work, you want to hear about context windows in ChatGPT? I'm such a card. Welcome, everybody. This is the AI Learning Lab. My name's Kyle Shannon. I'm getting a little moist. It's a little humid here in Denver. It ain't normally this humid, but weather's weird now. All right. Real talk. Working on writing a nonfiction book. Should I even bother? Yes, I think you should. Because you can have ChatGPT help you. So if you hit, one of the things I'm finding is that writer's block is a thing of the past, because you can just quickly blast through. I don't have any ideas. Oh, here's 30, and 15 of which are good. In the end, it's ultimately up to people to decide which of the shit that they created, whether they created it on their own or they created it in conjunction with this tool, or they just had the tool create it, right? There's kind of this spectrum from GPT wrote all of it. That's very rare in my experience. Most of the people that I know that are successfully using ChatGPT are using it like a collaborative tool. If you ask them, where's the boundary of what you wrote versus what it wrote, it's very blurry because it's a very collaborative process. But in the end, it's up to you as the human to go, okay, that's ready to publish. So if you've got a nonfiction book that you're passionate about, put it in your voice, put it out there, start to market it. Why not? Will it be easy for someone to knock it off and just copy your book and just have it rewritten? Yeah, but that doesn't mean yours can't resonate, right? Like we already live in a world where just take music, for example. Everyone has access to the same tools that that Billie Eilish and her brother have, right? Everyone's got Logic or one of these tools. So there's all this music out there, but somehow some music rises above the noise, and right? And it's the same with writing. It's the same with books. And the only way you know if it's going to be worthwhile is to put it in the world. Is it going to be way more competitive than it was before? Probably. But a lot of the stuff that's going to be put out there is just going to be horse shit. So if you really believe in it and you're willing to put some energy behind it, then yeah, why not? Any no-code tools like Bubble with AI? I haven't used Bubble. I've heard it's good. I use Zapier to do some automation, some content generation tools. It's janky, but fine. There's another one out there called Make, M-A-K-E, that is essentially like a more modern version of Zapier. I think Bubble's more like for creating applications. Zapier just launched this. I don't know if they just launched it a month or two ago. They launched this feature called interfaces, where you can create chatbots and websites and things like that. So like one of the frustrations I had with Zapier is like I would create these automations, but I didn't really have an easy way to just make it a shareable website. They have that now. It's called interfaces. So yeah. I mean, I would say step one is start playing with ChatGPT. Start understanding what prompting is. Start getting your head around this idea of having a back and forth collaboration with this tool rather than just write the perfect prompt, get the perfect answer. So step one, start getting familiar with the tool. I really feel step two is get your head around automations where you can take some inputs, you can send that data with a prompt off to OpenAI, you get back some interesting content, you do something with that, you put it in an email, you send that email. There's something really powerful in getting your head around automations, because with these generative AI tools, the power, you can create incredibly powerful apps in 45 minutes. Using Copilot, a lot helpful tech. Yeah, like what I've heard pretty consistently is that engineering shops, tech shops that are fully embracing Copilot and, essentially AI pair programming, they're seeing 30 to 40% productivity increases. It also documents your code, it debugs your code, it refactors your code. Explain the logic in this, refactor it in this more modern language. There it is. And the nice thing about code is it either works or it doesn't, right? So GPT hallucinates a lot, but when you take something like Copilot that's been optimized for coding, the nice thing about code is, did it work? If it didn't work, have ChatGPT analyze the code it wrote and figure out why it doesn't work. And it generally does. ChatGPT gave me an outline of how to get started with my app and some skeleton Swift files. Super cool. Swift UI files. That's super cool. But not the whole thing. Yeah, you're gonna have to mess with it. Yeah, / add code here. I'll ask it to elaborate. Exactly. Does Claude do anything better than GPT-4 and vice versa? The only thing. Okay, so here's what I like about Claude. There's two things. In terms of just pure writing, GPT-4 is still king of the hill, as far as I'm concerned, or Queen of the Hill. I think Bing, when Bing was talking to that New York Times reporter, said her name was Sydney. So Sydney is still the best, but I like Anthropic a lot. That's the company behind Claude. The one thing that they have that GPT doesn't right now is, or ChatGPT, is the 100,000 token window. So you can put in really long documents. So that I like. I haven't played a ton with Claude Plus, which is supposed to be the GPT-4 competitor. Here's some things of why I think it's worth at least messing around with the Claude models. Anthropic was founded by ex-OpenAI employees that actually created GPT-3. They've got a thing called the constitutional learning model, which I like a lot. So OpenAI uses what's called human reinforcement learning. So they get these large language models built, and then they have humans look at the answers and go, thumbs up, thumbs down, here's what I didn't like about it. And that's how they train the models. What Anthropic's doing, what the constitutional learning model is they write a constitution. So they say, here's a rule of imperatives. Here's a set of rules. First, do no harm, right? Increase prosperity, reduce suffering, whatever those rules might be. And they can be very high-level rules like that. And then the way conceptually the way the software works, I don't know technically how it works, but basically when it produces an answer from a prompt, it measures it against that constitution, and it will iterate on the answer until that answer can pass the constitution, right? So they don't have humans in there. So what's nice about that is I could imagine a world in which you've got transparency of those rules, right? And you could choose your own set of rules. You could say, I want one that's super conservative and never swears. And you could say, I want one that's super creative and, makes Shakespeare, look like adult, right? So you might be able to, in the future, choose different styles of large language models based on a transparent constitution. So I really like Anthropic conceptually as a company. It's full of very smart people. When the White House invited the 4 CEOs of AI companies to the White House like a month ago, Google, OpenAI, Sam Altman, Microsoft, and Anthropic, right? So the CEO of the people that make Claude was one of the 4 CEOs in the White House a month ago. So I just think they're very much worth paying attention to. Also, completely separate, is there a Gen AI tool you'd recommend for brainstorming fiction? Yeah, just ChatGPT, GPT-4. It's an incredible writer. It's an incredible writer, and again, like how I would do the brainstorming. Don't think about having to create a mega prompt that's going to give you all of the answers at once. Think of it more like a conversation. I want you to be a fiction writing coach, and I have some vague ideas about a story. Can you help me, brainstorm and fill in some of the details? Sure, I'm happy to do that. And just start going back and forth with it. It is GPT-4 from where I see, I haven't seen anything that's close to it in terms of just nuance of language. It takes some getting used to, but it's really, really good. All right, had a meeting with my non-tech boss today and convinced her to get familiar with ChatGPT as an intro. That's friggin' awesome. That's awesome, Silver Fox. Super cool. White House is putting the brakes on AI. Something bad happened, and they're not telling us. I don't know about that. And they're not going to put the brakes on AI. What they might do is they might say, if you're a company like OpenAI or Microsoft or Google, you're going to have to jump through some hoops for safety or for security or for privacy or whatever it might be. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. They're not going to be able to shut down the open source models, because that cat doth be out of yon bag. They can't shut that shit down because the Redditors will have their way with them, right? So I think what they're saying is, we need to get our heads around putting some guardrails in place so that big, well-funded companies, aren't just free to go off the rails and do whatever the fuck they want. I think that's ultimately a good thing. They are also very well aware that if they shut that shit down, the rest of the world isn't slowing down. They're not going to stifle innovation. They're just not. I'm working on an app which needs sentiment analysis. Any suggestions on how to proceed? ChatGPT is fucking brilliant at sentiment analysis. It understands sarcasm. It understands nuance of language. I had it do a thing. I was doing some testing. I do a lot of work in the healthcare and pharma space. I was having it doing regulatory pre-checks, where I would have it analyze the transcript of a video and say, analyze the text of this video from a medical perspective, a legal perspective, and a regulatory perspective, as if you worked for a pharma company, and give me a report for each of those disciplines, and then give it sort of a thumbs up or thumbs down. Does this video stand a chance of raising red flags from an MLR standpoint? It wrote a brilliant report. I gave it one transcript that wasn't even a healthcare, it wasn't like a patient video, and I said, would this pass? And it said, that video likely would not have been considered because there's nothing in it that's medical related. It's brilliant with that stuff. So if you're not playing around in the ChatGPT playground, platform.openai.com/playground, start working on your prompts for sentiment analysis on sample data that you're doing. Get your prompting down first, And then it's really just a matter of what's your input. You need an input to analyze. If you've got your prompting right, you can generate pretty sophisticated reports on the outside. The other thing, and this is similar to what I just said, I think it was to Ann before, or Silver Fox, I think it might have been to Ann. Don't feel like you have to write this single massive prompt that does everything. You can say, okay, take this and give me just a sentiment analysis, positive or negative. Now go through it and find, anything that was said that might be of interest to an executive, and that's another little chunk. So you can create lots of little chunks from the large language model, and then you can assemble those into an email or an Excel spreadsheet or whatever it might be. I think it's going to be brilliant at sentiment analysis, like brilliant. Sam Altman had some good ideas on regulations. Yeah, I think it's very easy to demonize people like Sam Altman because he so quickly came into public consciousness, and ChatGPT goes from 0 to 100 million people in 6 weeks. You've also got Elon Musk trashing him because it's I wanted it to be nonprofit and Sam made it for profit and boo-hoo, fuck him. Every interview that I've seen with Sam Altman, he is incredibly thoughtful. He's incredibly smart, obviously. He's incredibly thoughtful. He's incredibly self-aware and aware of the potential impact, both good and bad, that this stuff has. He's a very thoughtful guy. So I like him a lot. Where I am with Sam Altman right now is until proven otherwise, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because I can't imagine running a company where you've got a tool that's that powerful, that had that big an impact that quickly. Fastest adoption of technology in history, ChatGPT. 0 to 100 million people in 6 weeks. So he's in a really interesting position. And I think he's smart. I think what he's saying is bring on the regulation, help me help you, right? Because if he doesn't do that, they're going to create regulations without him in the conversation, and they're going to fuck it up because they don't even understand what Wi-Fi is, right? So it seems to me he's doing it right. All right. TikTok has acknowledged me for being on here for 90 minutes. Congratulations. Great job. You've gone live for 90 minutes. I think that's a pathological problem, but, we'll take it. All right. Is it common or still new for jobs? Is it common or still new for jobs to use AI models to predict employee attrition? Well, so here's the thing about AI. AI ain't new. One of the parallels to the early days of the World Wide Web and the early days of this generative AI shit, the internet had been around for decades, and then Tim Berners-Lee comes up with the World Wide Web, which basically just says now normal people can interact with the internet. They can just click on shit, tink, 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 and it changed everything, right? Similarly, AI's been around for decades. ChatGPT makes it, anyone can just type in that little text box and create magical shit. So things like using AI models to predict employee attrition, companies have been doing that probably for a decade, right? At a minimum 5 years, but probably more like a decade, maybe 2. I think what is probably the new behavior is who's doing that modeling and where does it live within the organization. So I would say historically, any of that AI machine learning shit that big corporations were doing was probably being led out of the IT department, right? So this is, data scientists and big data geeks taking all of a company's data and throwing these machine learning models at it and doing things like modeling employee attrition. Where I think that shifts, sort of post ChatGPT, is that you could have managers running those reports or CEOs running those reports or CEOs, administrators running those reports, right? I'll give you a similar analogy. So prior to PowerPoint, if you wanted to produce a presentation, you essentially had to be in the C-suite of a big company, because to produce a presentation, you had to go to these companies that would photographically make slides that were used in overhead projectors, and it cost tens of thousands of dollars to do a presentation. And then PowerPoint comes along, and literally everyone in the organization can now make a presentation, right? And, you know, not everyone's set out for making presentations, which is why so many presentations suck, right? But we've all gotten better at doing presentations using those sort of tools. Same kind of thing here, where historically machine learning was relegated to the IT department. It was off in the technical corner, and now it's sort of being freed and kind of exposed across the organization. So I think the implications of that are pretty profound, right? Because in order to get the IT group to do something, there's probably only a handful of people that can go, hey, IT group, go figure out how we can model employee attrition. And now all of a sudden, just anyone in the organization can go, I got a spreadsheet here with historical employee data. Let me run this in Code Interpreter, and oh yeah, look at those trends. Looks like the creative department's fucked, right? Like that's, you know, so you're going to have people informally doing what was historically incredibly formal modeling and predictive stuff. So I think that's what's new. Elon can go to Mars already. I know. Listen, I mean, as douchey as Elon is, like the guy single-handedly made electric cars viable. Has built a rocket that looks like 50 science fiction that actually fucking flies. He's landing rockets. Like the guy's actually doing some shit. You know, the Twitter stuff, I can take it or leave it. He'll probably figure out a way to make it work. But the dude's a fucking machine when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Just, you know, you can be a good entrepreneur and not a good person. He's a bit of a douche, but whatever. You know, I'll forgive him. He's going to fucking put our species on Mars. You think NASA would have done that? They can't get another, rocket program going. All right. Enough commentary. All right. Let's see. Sorry, I lost my place, people. I don't know where it was. What am I going to do? I fed information to ChatGPT piece by piece. It answered for a few minutes and forgot it. This is way old. I answered all these already. Does Claude have anything better than GPT-4? Answered that. White House putting the brakes on. Talked about that. Sam Altman talked about that. What's the coolest thing you've learned about AI today? Today. Did I learn anything about AI today? I had an interesting conversation from someone I met on here doing these lives. Learned some interesting stuff about how his organization is thinking about AI, or more importantly, not thinking about AI. And they're an organization that should be thinking about AI. So that was an interesting conversation. I would say in the past 3 days, the big theme that I'm seeing emerging is I've seen in popular business press stories that are indications that this stuff isn't going away. It is getting rolled into business, and it's kind of being accepted as a foregone conclusion that businesses are going to have to deal with this. For me, that Ethan Mollick piece about the secret cyborgs, I talked about it earlier, but what the piece basically talks about is that within organizations right now, you have individuals using ChatGPT and similar kind of tools as personal productivity enhancers, right? So you have individual contributors getting AI literate, but they're not telling the organization that they're doing it. And then you have the organization that's like, these tools aren't ready for prime time. We don't have a data policy. We haven't figured this shit out yet. Like we're taking a wait and see attitude. So the organization is taking a wait and see attitude about AI, but their employees are actively using ChatGPT. So those are the secret cyborgs. And that gap is going to cause a problem, right? Because you've got employees that are like, if I tell people I'm using AI, I'm going to get fired, or I'm going to get sued, or they're going to find out that I'm now doing in 4 hours what used to take me 40. And I don't want them to know that. Fuck them. I'm having a good time at the beach, right? And so what Mullock says in that piece is companies are going to need to make safe zones for those secret cyborgs to come out of the shadows and start sharing what they know, because that's going to be the way forward. So that idea of this is already happening, whether the organization is doing it or not, I think that's a pretty big deal. So that for me is I think that's pretty cool. Like, it doesn't necessarily make me feel better. But what it says to me is that like the instincts that I have that that this stuff's a big deal and it's going to be transformative. Like, it feels like it's being reinforced in popular business press, right? So like what you're not seeing in popular business press is like, it's the AI hype machine and this is all bullshit. No, it's more like, yeah, this was overhyped, but in fact, this is actually changing shit, and companies better get their shit together. Thoughtful in what ways? He is stuck in the Calvinist view that people need to work or they die. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, right. PowerPoint is so ubiquitous, it's downright boring. I wonder if AI will be as mundane. I don't think so. Well, I think AI will be as mundane, but in a different way. I think that AI will do the mundane. I think that AI is going to do all of the shit work, all of the soul-crushing, repetitive, shit-ass work that if you've been in one of those jobs where it's just you're a cog in the fucking wheel, you know, especially if you're in a knowledge worker job where you're not using your fucking brain, where it's literally just fucking cranking in data entry or just, you know, doing the same shit over and over again. That's the stuff where I think AI is going to automate that shit out. So then what does that person do? I don't know. Maybe they do something creative. Maybe they do something where their brain is actually engaged. Maybe they go, hey, you know what? Now that I'm not doing that shitty work and I'm asking myself, well, what do I really want to do? You know what I really want to do? Quit this fucking job and go start my own company, or go start a flower shop, or you know what I've always wanted to learn? Plumbing. I'm going to go be a plumber. I don't know. So for me, like the tools are going to do remarkable things. So I don't think they normalize I don't think AI normalizes into, it's just, you know, like PowerPoint, like everything's boring templates. I think we are entering a great renaissance of creativity and human expression. And I think that happens because these tools automate out the mundane. That's where I am with it right now. Could be very wrong, but that's where this noggin is. Orange data mining program. Yep. All right. Looks like I've gotten to all the questions. If you have other questions or thoughts, pop them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. We got a solid crew of people here. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Let's see. Like, oh no, what do coal miners do? Not mine coal, which is good. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like you know, coal miners losing their jobs is not good to them. In the larger picture, it's positive because those are dangerous, dirty jobs. But you know, the equivalent of knowledge worker coal miners, right? Like that work that is just, you know, it requires you to be able to use a computer, but it's just sort of grinding. I mean, it's going to be painful. The disruption is going to be painful, but all of those people also have access to all of these tools, right? So I think there's a massive opportunity for people to upskill or just completely reinvent their lives. And that I'm actually really excited about. It's the 2 to 3 year period where we're just kind of in the face of all the disruption. That feels like it's going to be really painful to me. And that makes me, I am preemptively sad because it's going to suck for some people. That I don't like. All right, listen, I've been doing this for 2 hours. I'm getting a little crispy. I'm getting a little moist. so I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I will probably be back here tomorrow. I might pop in later. What time is it? It's 10:30. I'm going to go to bed. I think I'm going to go to bed. But thanks for hanging out, everybody. Peace out. I appreciate your time.